Pardon me, madam. Where might I find your finest scrolls and perhaps a quill?
That would be in aisle 12. Wait, give this a try.
The future is coming! The future is coming!
It's already here.
Rocketbook, reusable notebooks from the future.
Pardon me, madam. Where might I find your finest scrolls and perhaps a quill?
That would be in aisle 12. Wait, give this a try.
The future is coming! The future is coming!
It's already here.
Rocketbook, reusable notebooks from the future.
All right, thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for joining part 2 of our Rewriting Notebook History series. For today's behind the scenes Q&A, we're joined by Tasker, Jake, and Steve. So why don't we just go around, introduce yourself and kind of what you do at Rocketbook. I'll start with Tasker.
Yeah, I'm Tasker. I'm on the product team here at Rocketbook on the physical side of the product team. So I'm an industrial designer along with some very cool folks, some very innovative folks.
Great, Steve.
I'm Steve Riedmeyer. I'm the creative director at Rocketbook, bringing it all together for marketing.
Nice. And Jake?
Jake Epstein. I'm a co-founder of Rocketbook. Get into a little bit of everything these days, but I started off mostly focusing on product and operations. And over time, I don't know what I do these days. I make videos, do live streams.
yeah. Jake was not in this video, but you've definitely seen him in a bunch of Rocketbook videos before. So in that video, Tasker, you're the titular colonial man. And I think you have some famous moments in that video. I think perhaps the quill and of course the tip of the hat. Were those things you came, especially the tip of the hat, you come up with that on the day, or how did you get into character? What was your preparation like?
Yeah, no, there was some great directing. Our director was awesome, gave me some solid lines, some great direction. I think I am not an actor. Let's preface all of that.
Oh, but you are. You are
now.
Well, that's true.
You weren't an actor.
One.
You weren't an actor, yeah.
Yeah. The costume helped a lot, to be honest. I came in that morning thinking, oh, it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna get to watch them film a bunch of stuff. And then someone was like, we have a role for you. You're gonna be a minute man or whatever. I didn't even know what that was. So I had to get into character on the fly. The costume helped a lot. A little voice tweak helped a little bit. I don't know if you could call it an accent, but a little twist.
Can you still slip into it? Yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while I lean over and I ask someone for a pen or something and I ask for a quote. No, it was awesome. The set too was awesome. Like very, very well done.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week, but the notebook aisle was in our office and it took like a bunch of weeks to set up. Jake, I don't know if you remember some of the process that went into that and the planning.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another crazy chapter in Rocketbook history. We converted like the main part of our office, like a big open space, essentially into a sound stage and set where we created a fake notebook aisle. There was some skepticism as to whether we could actually do it, but through Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and a bunch of Amazon orders, we were able to recreate a notebook aisle right in the center of our office. So
yeah, I think we bought all those shelves from Craigslist, right? And then we sold them also to someone.
We sold them. Yeah, it's a great hack. It's a great hack. I mean,
those shelves are just getting passed around the country for different videos.
I love,
Very
you know,
convincing.
it's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that stuff. I think everyone loves that stuff around Rocketbook. There's always something going on. That was
It's
that
fun
was a
to
big one.
it's fun to walk into your workplace and be greeted with flashing strobe lights in an office aisle, in a notebook aisle.
It was
Yeah.
fortuitous, man. I mean, you just like looked the part too, man. If there's Tasker,
The
if
mustache.
they're ever casting like a colonial piece in the Boston area, I will drive you to the casting.
We were
because
just lucky that I'd shaved to a mustache day up. I couldn't be more.
Was that really
perfect
day up?
timing. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Awesome.
unknowingly.
Yeah.
That was my first week, so my introduction to the office was soundstage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steve, that was your first week. What was that like coming into that? Were you like, oh man, this is gonna be like this every week?
No, it was kind of awesome actually. I was like, wow, I can't believe they pulled this off inside the space. But I was just didn't want to interrupt the flow, and I wanted to make sure that I was talking with the director, but I didn't want to interrupt anything or mess him up.
Yeah, I think you said you went over and talked to her, and then I forget, you said something like to make sure she wasn't going to be like, oh, this guy's going to be talking.
The words no director wants to hear while they're, after they're already shooting. Hi, I'm the creative director. What's going on?
It's my first day.
My first day. What's going
We're
on?
going to be doing things a lot differently. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Steve, you worked on a bunch of shoots before at previous roles. What do you think is like the most difficult or like challenge or most important thing to nail when you're shooting those kinds of videos?
Man, I think the biggest thing is nailing it for time. I mean, like Tasker had a bunch of really great takes, which made it easy to cut together, but you got to make sure that what you get can be cut together into a 30-second time slot, and sometimes a 15 and even a 6-second time slot. And in all of that time, you've got to be able to entertain the people that are watching, but you also have to get across the value proposition of the product, and then you have to get a memorable tagline for the brand so that people remember it and hopefully go and look, seek out more information.
Yeah, you talk about Tasker's many great takes.
Yeah.
Jake, I know a lot of people call you One Take Jake. You've spoke about that. I don't know. Did you have any notes for Tasker on the day about his performance?
Yeah. Let's hear that. Let's hear it, boss.
Let's get it all out now.
I think that Tasker did a great job. First of all, Tasker's first name actually is also Jake, so he could be a One Take Jake too. And I think that maybe next year it'll be a One Take Jake. But you did a fantastic job. I already told you look perfect, man. I mean, you should just maybe invest in some breeches and some tri-corner hats just in general. You could rock it around Boston. Give tours maybe.
That's true.
Yeah, I've actually been to a bunch of shoots. I think that your acting was first class.
It was a surprise.
Especially you had that. I think the tough scene is where you're looking into the notebook and you're seeing the future and like the whole timeline of humanity is racing by. What were you thinking in that moment as your character's freaking out?
So I don't know, believe it or not, I feel like that was the easiest part of that thing to film, because the entrance with like the talking and the accent was not easy, and then like the response to the future thing where I like smiled at Emily or like had to like skip away. This one was like just like shake really hard. It was pretty clear directions on that one. What I was thinking of was the future of notebooks. What Rocketbook's gonna be like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, who the heck knows? The possibilities are endless. So that's my answer, and then my real answer is I was just trying to like flex and shake as hard as I could, and then snap out of it.
You did, honestly, you did great. It's hard, as you mentioned, you're not an actor. No one in any of these videos are actors, and it's harder than it looks, right? And especially to deliver goofy lines like "the future is coming," I mean,
that's great.
It's hard to do. So I really do think you did a great job.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
That was really a perfect line, especially us being in Boston.
Yeah, that line. that line has now made it into some product team slide decks. So it's taking on a life of its own.
All right, as we're starting to wrap up here, Steve, like I said, I know you've done some cool shoots before. Any funny stories from past shoots that you were happy similar incidents didn't happen for ours?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. There's for Progressive, before we did Flow in the Superstore, we did a spot with
just casually dropping that Steve worked on the Flow for Progressive.
Never
like
heard
a
of it.
million years ago.
Never heard of it.
We did a spot with jugglers, and it was a pretty elaborate thing. We had 2 jugglers, and we scheduled an extra amount of time during the shoot day because it was so elaborate. And then I think one of the actors was actually a guy who juggles chainsaws on the beach in California, and those guys nailed it in like 3 takes. It was the most ridiculous day I've ever seen. It was like, we had him like throwing things over his shoulder to the other guy, and it came together. So
I think that's the type of thing. If you have a lot of takes, it's probably not a good thing, right? Because
well,
those chainsaws landing.
It was a single take, which was what made it difficult. Like there were no cutaways or anything to cut to.
Were these chainsaws being juggled or what?
They were not. They were just a regular everyday object. But
so it sounds like there's room for us to one up that video.
There's room for Tasker to grow. Yeah.
He'll be one take Jake, but for a different reason.
Maybe you can juggle muskets.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So you heard it here first. The next Rocketbook video will feature juggling chainsaws. I think that's great. I just want to say we got to announce the winner from the poll from last week. So on screen, you'll see the winner right now. Congratulations. Email us at hello@getrocketbook.com to claim your Rocketbook Multi Subject notebook. To enter this week's giveaway, just answer the poll that's under this video. There's also, I'll go to our Instagram story across our socials. Fill out the poll for who you think is going to be featured in the video next week, who the next character will be. And we'll announce the winner next Wednesday for the 3rd part of our Rewriting Notebook History series. We'll have one more behind-the-scenes Q&A. But that'll wrap it up for this week. Tasker, Steve, and Jake, thanks for joining. And we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks.
See you guys.